everyone. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Post About Ghost podcast, where everything ghostly from urban legends to full apparitions is covered. I'm Michelle Smith, aka Chellemo, and with me is Aidy.
Hello.
And we're going to start with you, Aidy. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what got you interested in the paranormal?
Well, my name is Aidy, as you already know. And how did I get into the paranormal? That's interesting. I've kind of probably from when I was a little kid, being scared of the shadow on the landing outside my bedroom, not knowing what the hell it was, although it was probably one of my parents going to the toilet at night, but I didn't think that at the time. And I think just the general thrill as a kid of being scared. We had a house at the end of our road that had remained empty for years, and I had a couple of friends that lived on the same road as me, and we all convinced ourselves the reason it was empty was because it was haunted.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to sort of dare each other to go into the garden, and it was all overgrown, like the grass was about 8 foot high, and it was like, see who would dare to go up to the window and look in the house, and it was just empty, but it was always a bit spooky. And somebody moved in a few years later. I mean, it was empty for years.
Right.
And they moved in and did all the house up and everything like that, so that kind of spoilt it. But then when I got older, I guess it was one of the things was probably television, and I will say the X-Files, because I was really drawn to that show.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm somebody who, I always say I am both Mulder and Scully. I have a healthy skepticism. I will always look for things in the real world and science to explain things.
Yeah.
But and then I'm like Mulder because I want to believe. But I can't get past it. Has to get past the logical fence, the logical gatekeeping in my brain before I'll then go, ooh, that's weird. As you know me very well, you know I will look for the absolute rational before anything else, before I will go there.
Yeah, and you know me as well. The truth has to beat its way through the monsters in my head to be realized.
Yeah, very much.
Oh, well, I'm a little bit jealous about your childhood abandoned home on the block. When I was a kid, I think my parents counted at one time, there were 60 kids on one city block when I was
Wow.
a kid. So we had plenty of kids in the neighborhood, a lot of big families in the homes in the neighborhood, but no abandoned house to challenge each other with. That would have been so cool for all of us to have.
Yeah.
We didn't. All of our houses on the block were taken, sadly. But
Yeah, just thinking back, because I did forget about it until thinking about doing this show. And thinking about, well, what sort of piqued my interest. So I always believe these type of things are rooted in childhood. And yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, I remember that. And I remember it, like, because I say, it was, as you've seen, our road is quite small. So there was just two other boys that I was friends with. And you kind of egg each other on. You psych each other out with this type of thing, oh, if you don't do that, you're a coward. And I was just, because I didn't get maybe as carried away with things as they did, I would just do it all the time. If there was a bet to see who would do it, I would do it. So in the horror movie, I'm the kid that goes first because I'm the idiot that just walks up there looking behind going, yeah, there's nothing here. And then I vanish, into the black void, never to be seen again. That would probably be me. But yeah, I mean, they would not do it. like some of them wouldn't even go into the garden, and I would just
Yeah.
go into the garden, down the path, into the back garden where there was the 8 foot high grass. You know, there could be anything living in that thing, and I would go right up to the back door. So I would actually go right round the house to the back
Yeah.
to prove a point. And quite often,
No
like,
way.
we played football, and if the ball went over the fence into that garden, they would just stand and look at me, and I'd be like, right,
You'd be the
fine.
one to go get it.
Yeah. And it wouldn't bother me. Well, I mean, I say it wouldn't bother me. I mean, it would be slightly wary, but because I say there was always that little part of my mind that never dismissed the possibility, but the rational side of my mind was always the thing that governed my actions, but also made me, made me alert and wary. You know, I
Yeah.
didn't just go skipping in there, do, not like pay attention. No, me, I look for anything that, like, in my mind, it's not so much something from beyond this dimension. It would be a garden rake. Don't step on a garden rake, that kind of thing. So I would be wary in a healthy way. And that's probably like why I would be the one that would end up going in there doing it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I'd be the one to let you. 'Cause I'm not doing it.
That'd be about right, yeah.
I'd be in your pocket, maybe. Oh. Well, as far as my interest in the paranormal goes, I can't really put my finger on the one thing, like you said, that got me interested in the paranormal because it's been lifelong ever since I was a kid. I had young parents. My dad was 20 years old when I was born, and he was a big kid. So, just by default, I was introduced to the paranormal early. He liked to scare us when we were little kids. Well, I remember we had this hallway, a long hallway down to the bathroom, and we would he would be telling ghost stories and getting us all freaked out and scared, and then we would be afraid to go to the bathroom by ourselves, and we'd say, "Oh, come to the bathroom, come to the bathroom." No, no, you're all right, you're all right. There's nothing scary in this house. He'd let us walk all the way down to the end of the long dark hallway, just get to the point where we're reaching in to turn on the bathroom light, and he would say, "What's that hand right there?" We would come flying back, screaming and running, and he thought that was funny. So, but and I think he got it from his parents because he had a dad. From what I've heard, I don't know a whole lot about my grandpa. Unfortunately, he passed away when I was 4 years old, but I hear he was a lot like my dad. My dad got it from him. He was a jokester, and uh, and when my grandparents moved to Indiana from Kentucky, they moved into a house that I'll just say was haunted. The whole family has stories about things that's happened in that house. We all confirm that Mama and Papa's house was haunted, and it's just something that has been with I grew up in a family of believers, basically. So there never was a point that I can remember not being interested in the paranormal. It's just always been with me. So there that is.
Wow.
That's kind of my backstory. You know how my dad was. He was a
Yeah.
nut. But
Yeah.
yeah, he is a lot to he has a lot to do with, and his parents before him have a lot to do with my interest in the paranormal. ultimately. So that's my story.
Right.
And moving on from that, I believe we have here on the agenda to discuss some ghost games we've been playing
Yes.
this week. Been playing some spooky games.
Well, yeah. Do you want me to kick it off or?
How about you do that?
Yeah. Well, not so much this week. But I have played this quite frequently to the point where I think I've pretty much gone through it all now. And that's a game called The Mortuary Assistant. And that was developed by Darkstone Digital and published by Dread XP. And it's currently, well, I say currently, its price on Steam is £19.49. I don't know what that is in dollars, but that's what it is in pounds. And it has very positive reviews on Steam. And the brief synopsis of the game is you play as a character called Rebecca Owens, who is fresh from getting her degree in mortuary sciences. So you take on an apprenticeship at the Riverfields Mortuary. And you're called in late one night to handle some embalming, and that's where the horror starts. You need to practice the embalming tasks and also keep demonic forces at bay. You need to identify what the demons are.
Good idea.
Well, yeah, but you need to identify what the demons are by performing occult rituals as you unlock your past story as you progress, which is where it's kind of a nice little hook in the game as you find more about the character you're playing as you go through the story. And the story unfolds during multiple playthroughs. So each playthrough has different scenarios, different demons. And I found it scary and fun to play at the same time. It's a game that does have a few jump scares in it, but there's also the scares in terms of playing the game. Like, you will see something in there looking at you, and you're looking at it, and it's one of them like, okay, are you going to do something, as in come towards me or go away from me as I get near you? And I tend to as you know, with me, I will just charge towards it, saying, come and get me, you whatever. And I found it really good. There's something weirdly relaxing about performing the embalming tasks. I don't know why, because it's kind of ritualistic, and I like that kind of thing in terms of you follow these procedures.
Okay, Norman Bates.
No, you following procedures of how to do it, and it's kind of that part of it is sort of, I don't know, I found it like routine things, doing routine stuff, I do find kind of relaxing. But then you just sort of throw in the curveball of suddenly the lights will go out, or suddenly a window will snap open, or suddenly, a face will appear at the end of a dark corridor where the lights have gone out, or suddenly the thing that you're working on, the body you're working on will just suddenly levitate off the table. So,
right.
Yeah, it's fun.
Refresh my memory with that one. There we go. I'm trying to get a cough drop. Get a grip on this cough. Isn't this one where your sanity level can go? I was thinking that there's moments in the game where
this is probably one of those.
Out.
Yeah, I was going to say, it probably does have a sanity thing, but I probably never paid any attention to it.
Yeah, I was thinking that mine kept going a little bit, woo, and then I would start to experience the paranormal, but I can't remember. It's been a while since I played it.
So anybody that's ever seen one of my playthrough videos on my channel of games, no, I don't pay attention to a lot of stuff that goes on. I get locked in and focused on the task at hand. So yeah,
I save that behavior for the real world.
Yeah,
I pay no attention to what's going on.
Yeah, that's it. Because it's like in the real world, I'm like a radar. I'm like a walking radar device. It's like 360 full
Yeah.
senses, going overdrive type of thing.
Yeah.
But
I've
in a
been on a
game,
walk with you.
yeah, that's it. I mean, I can pick out danger, like, or potential hazard from about a mile and a half away, and be like, idiots over there. And you'd be like, where? And I'm like, well, they're gone now. But, like, let's go this way kind of thing. But when it comes into a game, I just get total tunnel vision, locked in completely on what I'm doing. And yeah, I mean, there's a number of times I've not even realised I'm about to die in a game. Like, I've got 1% health, and it's like, I die, and I'm like, what? What happened then? One hit? So, yeah, that's very evident when you see sort of playthroughs on my channel. But, yeah, I mean, there are things, I think, because you have to perform these rituals, and you have to identify what the demon is in order to beat the game. And it's not immediately apparent if you do it wrong. It's not like an instant game over. You don't find out until the game finishes, because then it goes to the cutscene at the end of the game, and there's different ones, and that's how you find out how successful you've been. But yeah, I just thought it was a fun little game, because it takes place literally in two places: your apartment, and then the actual mortuary home, whatever you call it. It takes place there. So it's not like you're going around all different places. And you think that might get a little bit boring, but it doesn't, because it's very focused, and you've got a lot to do. Like, generally speaking, each time you go there to do it, there's 3 bodies you have to perform the mortuary services on, and the embalming and all that kind of stuff. So you've got to make sure you follow everything in order to do that properly. The sort of, the real function of that. And then on top of that, you've then got to try and ascertain what paranormal entity is creating havoc whilst you're in there. So, even though I've played through it multiple times, I've never got bored of it. It's kind of a game you could go back, like, you play it quite intensely, get a few of the endings, and then come back a while later and pick it up and play it again, and see what's different in it. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Is it, do you know if the entities you encounter are randomly selected?
I think so.
Did you get a different combination every time you play?
I think it's random what they are, but what signs you get, like clues you get as to what they are, that's kind of set. So, because there's various symbols which are the clues as to what you're dealing with. But what it is like, that thing is random.
Is random. Yeah. So that is kind of cool. It would be different.
You perform a ritual to find out what it is, and you'll see a symbol that appears somewhere in the building, and then you cross-reference that to a database that's on this computer in the mortuary, because the guy who runs the place is sort of into that kind of stuff, which is probably why things are going haywire in there. Yeah. And then that's how you identify what it is you're dealing with. So it's like a process of elimination. And then once you've ascertained what it is, like you then perform whatever rite you need to perform to sort of perform the exorcism on that particular thing. And I've got it wrong a few times. I've been like absolutely certain I've known what it was, and it wasn't, because I've missed something in the process. So yeah, it does make you pay attention to what's going on, but at the same time, it's actually a really good game. in
Yeah, I've
terms of,
never played anything quite like it before. Yeah, there's some games you like them because they remind you of something else that you played that you liked, and
yeah,
then there's those other games that pop up every now and then, and you're like, I've never really played anything quite like this before, and that's how this one hit me. It was really interesting, and I
yeah,
love it when a game company really goes the extra mile to present something in a different way.
yeah. And
Or it's just it's nice to when you have that experience, you come to a game and it's like, huh,
yeah,
never really
simplicity
thought about you.
is really part of it because, like I say, there's not many places to go. I mean, you can
Yeah.
go into there's different rooms you go into in the mortuary, but stuff like in your apartment is quite often just the start point. Like you'd be just
Yeah.
lounging around in your apartment and your phone goes and you go out and go to the place. But you can actually go outside the building as well and walk around outside, but there's nowhere to go. It's like in its own little grounds.
Yeah.
And if you're somebody like, if you were going to compare it to other survival horror games where there's a lot of places you go to and explore, you might be put off, but don't, because what's there is very focused.
Right.
Because it's not diluted by exploring for hours and hours and hours on end with nothing happening.
Yeah.
It's quite intense because you're in one. It takes part mostly in one location, and you get very familiar with that environment. And so when things are changed, when things are different, you kind of notice what's going on there, and that sort of gives you the clue as to trying to figure out where to look for the symbols that you need to find out, and also sort of messes with your mind a little bit. You don't get that with the big exploring survival horror games because you don't spend a lot of time in any particular location,
Right.
and that's where it works to a great strength of it. You work to because you become very familiar with that environment, and when things change in that environment, I think that messes with your head a lot more because you've not got that whole thing of like, I've just been one location, then I go to the next and something spooky happens, and you go to the next and something spooky happens. No, it's all taking place in a place you become very familiar with, which makes it more impactful because that's like something happening in your own home. And the game sort of plays on that whole issue of familiarity, something weird happening in a familiar environment, which I think is a lot more spooky.
And speaking of spooky elements, there's kind of when it comes to survival horror, for me, there's kind of two baskets. There's gore and there's scary.
Yeah.
Some games have a lot more gore and a little bit of scary. Some games are more psychologically scary, don't have so much gore. Is Mortuary Assistant the kind of game that would you say it's I don't think it's I mean you're embalming bodies, so obviously there's graphic content to the idea of what's happening, but I don't think it's necessarily gory, but I
No.
think there are a lot of scary. Is this the kind of game that you would play alone at night in the dark? Is I guess is what I'm going
Well,
for.
if you want the full on
Yeah.
experience, yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
think
not. I
there's
don't
some
think
good moments
it's
for
not.
that in it.
It's not like gory in the sense of body parts flying everywhere or whatever.
Yeah.
That isn't what
Yeah,
it's
there's the
about.
element of what you're doing.
Yeah, but it's mostly like the gore factor really with that is, and it's not real gore. It's just like you drain body fluids and put the was it like the formaldehyde or whatever, the embalming fluids in. It's, it's not like you see an awful amount of stuff, if you know what I mean. Like the bodies aren't mangled or anything like that. So from that side of things, it's not like gross out, I don't think. Like you see gore, like it's not gore as in like you would see in something like The Walking Dead or anything like that. So no, it's
Yeah.
I wouldn't say
like-
you need a strong stomach, but then that's me, and I, don't get really freaked out by gore so much. So, but no, I didn't think it was. It's just like fluids. You stick a tube in this pre-designated area on the body, and then the fluids drain, and then you put the fluids in, and then when you go to do things, a lot of it is just like clicking on. Yeah, that's it. It's just you click on the thing and it does it. I suppose if you really sat and thought about it as a concept of what you're doing, then that would be worse. But I mean, it's just, to me, I'm able to do that thing where it's like, it's just video game graphics. It's just pixels and polygons. So it's not, it's not a real thing. I've always been, I always have that part of, again, that's that sort of rational part of my mind when it comes to video games. It's just like, that's just graphics on a screen. It's not a real thing.
Yeah. There's like this game, I would be more bothered playing it by myself at night than I would be playing something like Left 4 Dead is survival horror, but I've played that many times in my room, with either by myself or with people online, at night, and never thought anything about it because it's called survival horror. But I would, and I guess the key is the survival part. It's you have to survive the environment. It's I guess that's what separates it from a psychological horror game. So, but I would challenge that they're almost two completely separate genres.
I think so too, because I put the likes of Left 4 Dead in the same category as Doom. It's a first-person shooter. At its core, you're the one going on the offensive. You're hunting the things down and shooting them. To me, with a survival horror, you have very limited access to things to defend yourself with. It's survival horror, you're on the defensive. You're not, your things are happening to you. You're not happening to them. Like in Doom, particularly the more modern Doom games, they sort of sell you the idea that you are, they call you the Slayer. Like they fear you. I mean, there is actually a track of music in, I don't know if it's Doom Eternal, where the actual name of the track is "The Only Thing They Fear Is You." So you are like the nemesis. You're their doom. Hence the name. In Left 4 Dead, you're part of like 4 people. You're armed to the teeth, and you're out there. Like the tagline, isn't it? The tagline is sort of curing the outbreak or whatever, one zombie at a time. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing is like you're going somewhere, you've got a mission to do, you're wiping things out. You've got means of mass destruction at your hands. You contrast that with something like Silent Hill, where you have very limited ammo. You basically have a stick, a pistol, a shotgun, and a flashlight and a radio. And there are things,
Good luck finding bullets
yeah,
for it
that's
too.
it. You can't just go in there like Yosemite Sam shooting the place up. You run out of bullets, and then
Yeah.
that game, the survival horror games, you have to make a decision on: do I run away from this thing? Do I attack this thing? Health is scarce. There's a great deal of emphasis on surviving rather than gunning everything down.
I think it's interesting the way you said on one hand you're doing something to the environment and in the other hand the environment is doing something to you. That kind of
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense to me to look at it that way. Psychological versus survival. I guess in a
yeah,
survival situation you're being the action the actionary trying to survive an environment, and then in psychological, I guess with psychological the only survival element for me is let's see how long I survive playing this game before I turn it off and don't play it anymore because I'm
yeah,
too scared.
yeah. I mean, like the early Resident Evil games were very much like there's limited ammo. I mean, the first game, you end up in a mansion. You're part of like a SWAT type team. They're called Stars,
Yeah.
and you're part of the police force that's going to investigate what's going on in the mansion. Things go wrong. You're in there. I mean, when you start the game as Chris in the original game, you don't even have a gun at the beginning. You have a knife, and you quickly realise that ain't that good. That's like an absolute last resort. And when you get a gun, it takes multiple hits just to put the bog standard basic zombie down with a pistol, and you like. It was funny, really, because I played a little bit of that last night, the original game on the PlayStation, and it was surprising just how quickly you run out of ammo, and you've not got
Right.
anywhere into the game. And then in the back of my mind, because I've played through it and completed it in the past, it's like, oh God, like the worst is yet to come, and I really don't have anything left to protect myself with. And I think that, that with those games as well, there's a greater emphasis on puzzle solving, unraveling
Yeah.
what's going on, rather than just go in an area, completely pacify it by killing everything in sight. There's no puzzle. There's, you're not putting pieces together of what it is that's happening to you or what has happened in this environment. And you get certain games that are like that, and those, like you say, they're more psychological,
Yeah.
because they're messing, the things that are messing with your head. You're unraveling a mystery, really using weapons in games that you do get the ability to use weapons, because there's a lot of the survival horror games you don't have any weapons. Your only defense is to run away and hide.
Yeah.
And wait for the thing to go past.
Yeah.
The only time, you have to rely on something to happen in the environment to protect you. Those are very intense, like games like Outlast, in particular. And you can get situations like Alien Isolation where you have weapons, but they have very limited effect on the thing that's after you. It might scare it off briefly, but it's not going to kill it. So there's always that feeling that you are outmatched in those situations.
Yeah.
And then you are, as you go along, are unraveling a mystery. And they're very that's fascinating, because it's the story of the game that is unraveled as you're going through it and finding things in the environment. And games that get that good balance, because I always think you need a little bit of action, because you have to have something that releases the tension so it builds back up again. And I think the Resident Evil and Silent Hill games do that very well. You do get a point where, I've got the shotgun now and I can one-hit kill a lot of the standard things that were very difficult before. but then they up it because they'll introduce something else that is going to take more ammunition, and so it puts you back into that state, but with the different bad guys, different enemies in the environment. If they get the balance right, that becomes a really rewarding game to play. If they get it wrong, it either becomes too easy or too difficult, I think. And when it's either one of them, it can be a little bit off-putting, because it kind of, if it's too easy, it's not as scary, because you just kill everything. And, you know, you're not worrying about the thing chasing you anymore because you've killed it. So you can then just take your time and go through the environment leisurely. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, since this podcast is the Posts About Ghosts podcast, let's see what people are saying about Mortuary Assistant on the internet.
That's
How about
great.
that? Awesome. Okay, so we played Mortuary Assistant. I played Mortuary Assistant on Steam. I think you
I
did
did.
as well. Okay, so that's kind of where I've gone to what people are saying about the game. I'm just hearing the Steam reviews and just looking through. For one thing, I think is it rated? Yeah, rated very positive. Under the recent reviews, there's 68 reviews that are very positive. And just going through here, it seems like a lot of people really like this game. Someone says, let's see, Night Angel 13 says it's overall a great horror game. I love the ambient music to the change of vision of the character you're playing. There are a few puzzles which are a great addition to this game. The one thing that I would change is turning the gurney is really hard. If you can make it to where it turns a little faster or easier to turn all around, that would be awesome. Overall, I would give it a 4.5 out of 5 for this game. And I have to, after playing it myself, I would have to agree that the pushing that cart around is kind of wonky, and because it's so much bigger than you are, it's really awkward to
It does
move it.
simulate how things like that, though, can be wonky, like a supermarket trolley.
Yeah,
Those things have a mind of their own.
yeah, it does.
So, and it's you do have a corpse on this thing. So I guess they were trying to make it so there was some weight to it. I don't know. I didn't really have much of a problem because most of the time I was just going in a straight line with it and turning it around and putting it. I tell you what I did find awkward was when you were putting the bodies back into the cold store and taking them out. If you're not used to it, you've not played it for a while, that can be a bit of a process because it's like I think it's like a 2 or 3 step thing. You have to bring it to it, and then you got to raise the height, and then push it in, and then I think once it's in, once you've got you've slid the body into the cold store, I think you then have to move the gurney away and then go back and push it again before you can close the door. That was about it. I always used to forget to do that part, and it's like, for God's sake. But I never put nobody's corpse was ever introduced to the floor while I was playing it, so I'll just take that as a big win.
The one thing that I remember, and it's not particular to this game necessarily because I've had it happen in several games, and it is incredibly annoying, but because I see it so many places, I don't know, and I haven't worked on programming any kind of game like this. I don't really know what the issue is, but the little indicator that you're selecting the right thing is like this tiny dot. Do you remember that? But I'm pretty sure this game is that way, and you have to be real selective about exactly where you put your when you're trying to select something.
Yeah, you do have to get it in the right place.
Yeah,
it's a bit different for me because I'm playing on a massive TV and I'm quite close to it. So
yeah.
But I can imagine it would be a bit more difficult. But
Yeah.
it's not something that sticks in my mind as an issue. So
Got another comment here. I'll just read one more before we move on to the next game. Even Stephen TTV says, you have to embalm bodies while trying not to get possessed by a demon. This game is perfect. The game has the creepy factor down, the atmosphere is creepy, and all the jump scares are timed perfectly. If you're a fan of horror games, this is the game for you. And I would agree with that
yeah,
sentiment.
I
I
would
had a lot
too.
of fun playing it.
Yeah, and like I say, what adds to it as well is familiarity because you
Yeah,
are in a limited number of environments. So I always think it's more impactful when you're very familiar with the environment and then something changes and you notice that something's changed. That's spookier than just going from one sort of spooky environment to another, whereby you don't notice the differences because you're not in and out of the same environment all the time. I played a bit of Resident Evil 4 remaster on the PS5. I put out footage up on my channel, and you're just going from one place to another. And yeah, there are scares to be had in the game, but they're not. It's not so much things that are different in the environment because you're not really revisiting places and spending the duration of the
right.
game. Like I said, it's only really a couple of places that you are in the
Yeah.
entirety of the game. So when you think about the concept of that might be something that people might think is boring, but it works perfectly for this type of game.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Didn't they do something similar with Silent Hill, the room, where
Yes.
everything is
Well,
linked to that one hub, isn't it? Which is one
yeah, it's a
room.
little bit different because you're only locked into that one room basically in between the levels. You
Yeah,
always go back to that one room, but you leave through a hole in the wall and go out
but
to
I can't
wherever
remember
you
now
go.
because it's
So
been years since I've played it. But did things change in that room? Didn't like new items appear or things? I can't remember, but
I think maybe the hole that you go in and out of might change or the front door maybe, but I don't remember that being a necessarily element of the environment. I can't remember
I
either.
can't remember either.
It
But
was my least favorite Silent Hill, I have to confess, so I don't hold a lot of it dear in my memory.
if I'm honest, that's probably why I bought it up. But it was like just a game
Yeah.
where I thought like it's a survival horror game that has
Yeah.
those elements to it. So yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So, next we played Repo,
we yeah we did. That
and
is
Repo is an acronym for Retrieve, Extract, and Profit Operation.
yeah. I spent more time laughing though than being scared in this game, especially when I discovered that I can type things in and my characters then speaks
Yeah,
them.
yeah. They say it. Yeah.
And yeah, as you know, I probably shouldn't really say what I was getting the character to say, but yeah, it was.
Warning. Warning.
It's a well-known Cartman phrase in South Park, and it's not the one
Yeah.
that revolves around him going home.
Might
It's
that
the
be a
other one.
particular recommendation that he
He
makes
would
to
be,
Mr. Garrison? Yeah.
yeah. In the South Park movie, he enunciates it via a megaphone, and then just finishes off with Mr. Garrison. So if you've seen the movie, you know exactly, and it's also something, and I blame South Park for this entirely. It's a phrase that I use probably too many times, and I can't believe it hasn't landed me in serious trouble by saying it in inappropriate company by now. But yeah,
I tell you what, I'm going to have to research and see what I can get away with.
yeah,
But if I can get away with a clip under fair use, we might just have to patch that in right here.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, I thoroughly blame Matt and Trey for that one because I never used that phrase until I saw the South Park movie, and I was helpless laughing at
No, you
that
can't stop
scene,
yourself.
and now I can't stop myself. No, and that's a long time to have that affliction. But yeah, it was. It just sums up my humour level, my mental age humour level, which is roughly that of a 15-year-old boy. But yeah, yeah, that's it's funny, really. Repo is actually there is a lot more to that game than just that, but that was a standout. When I discovered that I could do that and my character's mouth actually opened and closed,
And you hear the
and you
words.
hear the
Yeah.
words, that was it. That I spent a good portion
Yeah.
of the playthrough that we did typing stuff like that in, which is probably accounts for why we didn't know what the hell we were doing and did rubbish in it.
Well, we should probably clue the audience into what we're talking about.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea. Yeah.
The point of this game is you are a robot that is tasked with going into, not just going into, I'm assuming we're breaking into, because we're going into different places and stealing valuables. And the thing about repo, the place where ghosts fit into repo is you're breaking into these places to steal valuables, and the places are haunted. So you're up against different paranormal entities that are trying to keep you from collecting these valuables and
I'm sorry, I'm
getting
just
out of
laughing
there.
at the thing of this place is haunted. It's supposed to be like a spooky game, but every time I saw the
Yeah.
ghost, my hands went to the keyboard to
Yeah.
throw insults at them before getting absolutely annihilated.
Oh yeah, that was great.
But it took me ages to figure out that, like, first of all, you have limited stamina, so you can't just perpetually run away from these things. And
Yeah.
then I discovered that you can actually hide in this game, because I was just like, don't watch tutorial. Let's just dive in, play the thing, and die. And then there's that bit where you have this weird thing where you're on a platform that disappears at the end, and could never figure that out. So it's yeah. It's probably not going to be the world's best review, if that's what you would call it, for this game. But I do highly recommend it because I just had a lot
Yeah.
of fun with it. I thought it was hilarious. And yeah,
it was hilarious.
it is
I kept getting
spooky
caught.
because when you do have a cartload of stuff, because you have to get so much value to finish the contract, and you're going back to the little drop off point, and then you do have the various spooky creatures and monsters and other things in the thing there that are trying to stop you, and that does get quite tense. It's like what's that game we've played? What's the other? Hang on, let me have a quick ganders because I've got that as well. It's
Yep.
it's the I call it like the Ghost Adventures Simulator game. What is that called? We've both got it.
Yes, it's
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's like a comedic version of that, because you rock up in your truck. Only in this one, you actually crash into the building. Or with Phasmophobia, you don't.
Right.
And you then have to go in and achieve things for the contract like you do with Phasmophobia. But Phasmophobia takes like a bit more of, your sort of standard television ghost hunters, ghost adventures, that kind of approach. You're going in there with your EVPs and recorders and your little diary thing and your camera, and you've got to do certain things in order to fulfill that contract thing, which again, I think that's another game I never managed to actually fulfill any of the contract requirements for that, because I was too busy laughing my head off. And then just running out of the place, going back in the truck and driving off and being like, no, not doing it. Which is not exactly what you're supposed to do in that game. But yeah, I kind of took it, sort of gave me that vibe. But it's a more light-hearted approach because you are literally like two little cutesy robot things that are
Yeah.
just hilarious.
Yeah. You get to pick what color you are. I think
Yeah,
that's your character choice right there.
yeah, you do.
Your
Yeah.
character color. Speaking of oh shit, here's an edit. What did you just say?
We were talking about the cutesiness of the characters.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of what you're supposed to do in this game, I think it's well, first it should be noted that this is a early access. It's still in early access.
This
It
is true.
seems
Yeah.
to have a very active community and it's rated overwhelmingly positive on Steam. So I think we're gonna see a little bit more come out, but just for now, speaking of what you're supposed to do, there's that weird bit. What's going on with that weird bit where you're on this
Well,
like
yeah, that was the
platform
thing. Yeah,
floating?
when you fail, which
Yeah,
we
yeah.
just did every single time and ended up.
Every time.
No. Actually, that's that. No, we're selling ourselves short. There was at least one occasion, possibly two, where at least one of us actually made
Where
it
at least
out
one of us.
and got to the shop between levels
I
where you
love the
can
way
buy
you
power ups.
Yeah, I love the way you didn't throw me under the bus, but let's just not lie. I was there with this game. If you get killed, if you get captured and killed by one of the spirits, your partner can actually come and get you and put you in the repo cart and save you. I spent more time in the repo cart than I spent actually helping out with this game because I kept getting captured by the spirits. Everywhere I would go, they would be right behind me. That's probably how you were doing so well. They were all following me.
Well, yeah, possibly. Also, though, I do tend to. I guess Alien Isolation and playing that and Outlast taught me how to find places and hide in there until things come back. Especially Alien Isolation. Jesus Christ, that thing's a
Yeah,
menace.
that
That game.
and
So
I'll tell you another one, Outlast. I've just
yeah,
never been real good at games where you have to go and hide because I'm not I'm clumsy in the real world and clunky and noobish. And I'm just not good with getting somewhere and getting hit. I'm always found. I'm always captured in these games. I'm just not very good with that whole run and hide thing.
no. Alien Isolation is evil for that because it does give you weapons and offensive things to attack with.
Yeah.
Outlast, you don't.
Right.
But when you then get the alien coming at you and you think, haha, I'm going to shoot you with this gun I've now got, and then you just watch the bullets bounce off it.
Doesn't even work. Yeah.
No, and you can't run away from that thing either. Unlike certain TV shows, which then show people who are miraculously able to run away from the alien.
Yeah.
In
Now,
Alien
am I
Isolation,
correct that they can hear you as well in that
yes.
game?
Yeah. You make noise in that environment. And I think also, I don't know if it was only on PC or whether it was also on console, if you have a headset plugged in or a microphone, and you make a noise while you're playing it, not in the game, but actually in your own room while you're playing it, and your mic picks it up, the alien can hear it.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a chance.
No. So if you sneeze, you've had it.
Well, as you know, I have a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old nephew in this
Yeah.
house. So,
Oh,
no
they
chance.
will
I have
just
no
they will
chance.
just come in and speak, and yeah,
Yeah, it's all over.
and it's bad enough without that mechanic going on. So
Right. So back to Repo.
Yeah,
This is a Swedish game by Semiwork.
yeah.
Am I saying that right? I hope I'm saying that right. Semiwork.
So I think you are. Yeah, semi work. Yeah. I don't know how else you could
And
say it unless,
yeah,
it's
well, I don't know if
the
it's
letters are
semi,
pronounced
semi.
in Swedish probably a little differently, but I would say semi work.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Semi work. It's fun. It's
It
very
is.
fun. I had a great time. And just looking here at the comments on Steam, it looks like everybody's having a lot of fun. It's rated
Yeah.
overwhelmingly positive.
Oh, one thing
And
to interject with as well, quickly. Sorry.
sure.
It's also physics based. So when you pick things up, like you have the in-game physics, it's not just pick it up and dump it in. You can break things and drop things, and there are things that are very
Yes.
heavy that you have to sort of try and roll in there. I mean, we've watched a video on it, of like
Yeah.
people
How
who've
to
been
get
playing the
this in
game,
there. Yeah.
and I just looked at that and was like, I'm not going to be able to do that because
Yeah.
you can have up to 6 players co-op in it, and I think there are some things in there that you probably would need more than 2 players.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, definitely.
but it does tailor to different sites because there are loads of things you can pick up as an individual. So I've not come across. I don't think we've come across anything where you think, "Oh, we can't do this because you need more players." I guess it just makes it a little bit easier to pick up larger items. But then I would
Yeah.
suspect that the game might compensate for having more people in it by throwing more baddies at you, possibly. So I don't know because we've only
Yeah,
played it
I would say that
co-op.
might be a fair
Yeah.
guess there.
But yeah, I just thought that was worth throwing in because that is a huge part of the game.
Yeah.
And that also leads to a lot of comedic things as well. When you're trying to get
Yeah.
something in there and then there's a thing chasing you, it's like, oh, for God's sake, get in the damn car. And
Yeah, and yeah, I do remember that. You throw something in that cart and it breaks about three things that are already laying in
yeah,
there. You have to watch that. You have to be careful because in the cart does not always mean always in the cart. You can lose some money if you break the things in there.
yeah, I've crashed the car into a wall, desperately trying to get it back to the drop off point, and had enough value in the cart to complete the level. And by the time I've got it back there, I've needed to go back out again and get about half the amount of stuff again. So
And
yeah,
just thinking while we're sitting here a minute ago when we were talking about mortuary assistant, and I mentioned how much bigger the cart is than you. I'm positive I was talking about this cart and not the gurney. So I
yeah,
was confused in my head. Yeah, this cart is giant compared to you. It's big and clunky and
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But it just adds to the fun.
It
That's
does.
it. I
It's
mean,
hilarious.
I think in a lot of games you would probably be frustrated by something like that, but in this, it is hilarious. You just can't help but laugh playing it.
I spent a good amount of my time in what do you call that when you're in I call it 80 vision. You know, when I'm already dead and I'm like my camera is following you,
Oh God, yeah. Chase
whatever
cam,
that mode. Yeah,
whatever it is,
where I'm
yeah.
like yeah,
You
following along
kind
with
of
you,
observing the
observing
observation
you.
mode.
Yeah, I spent a good amount of my time observing you, and I can tell you exactly what kind of player you are because I watched your strategy play out as I was dead.
Well, it wasn't that great. The strategy tends to
Well,
not.
it kept you alive longer than me, so
Well, not always. Not always. There were some times where it was like I appeared to be dead already because
were
I've
there?
gone charge. Well, I charge into every room, and then deal with whatever happens to be beyond the door. There's not much
Yeah.
cautiousness when I'm playing games, as you know. It probably stems from playing Doom, just charging the room and mow everything down, and it's kind of stuck with me, even in games where you have to kind of be a bit stealthier, which is why the stealth games tend to always be something that I'm not particularly great at. So, but yeah, it's all good fun.
Yep. Just looking here at a comment on Steam from the last sketch that says, hands down, the most fun I have ever had gaming with my friends. This game is challenging but hilarious. I would wholeheartedly agree. I think the last time that I had this much fun on a co op was playing with the Sanctuary for Gamer people on Left 4 Dead 2 way, way back in the day. It's been a long time since I've had this kind of fun. And
Yeah,
playing Blur with the Pink and Deadly people, that was a lot of fun. This is that kind of fun again.
yeah. I'm not much for competitive multiplayer when people take it seriously and they
Yeah.
suck the life out of it. Yeah, I like it when it's fun and you can just laugh at what's going on, and that kind of makes you want to play it more. And this, not only is it the game makes it fun for everybody else involved in it that's playing it. You're not. I just can't imagine how anyone could play this with a serious attitude because
Yeah.
it's just nuts.
Yeah, you're already on the wrong game if you come with a serious mindset.
Yeah, if you want to be the elite pro gamer, you're
Yeah.
not going to get that kind
Might
of
keep
thing.
looking.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah, you're going to be you're going to be faced with far more people who are just going to lark about and throw things at you and then blow up
Yeah.
than anything else. It's not built for that, and I really appreciate that because
Yeah.
I, despite the fact that I do game an awful lot, I most definitely am not a elite pro gamer.
Well, we all know what kind of gamer Shelmo is. So this is right up my alley.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we've been playing. In other ghost news, haven't really seen any scary movies lately, so to speak. How about you? You
Not
watched
not
anything?
lately. Not lately.
Yeah, if we see anything spooky, this might be where we talk about our other spooky entertainment. What I do have this week is some ghost news that I found very interesting. Apparently, according to the Associated Press News, apnews.com, searchers have discovered a ghost ship that apparently sank in Lake Michigan almost 140 years ago.
Wow.
So, it's been down there, the bottom of Lake Michigan, it says here, that sank during a ferocious storm off the Wisconsin coastline. I
Right.
thought that was pretty cool. So, I am a bad assessor at size,
Right.
but I cannot in my mind contemplate how something the size of a ship
Yeah.
can be in a body of water the size of Lake Michigan and nobody see it for 140 years. Is Lake Michigan really that deep? Can
It's
somebody from Michigan let me know
it's one of the
how
Great
this has
Lakes.
happened?
It's one of the Great
Yeah,
Lakes.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean they can get lakes can get really deep
Yeah.
if they're
It's
glacier lakes. Yeah, that rock can be well and truly carved. And if they're flowing, it's flowing water that will also carve the rock as well. So yeah, I would imagine that they can get really deep. I
That
mean,
is just wild. It brings a whole level of fear of lakes into my life that I had not had before.
well, it's not like like a small sort of country lake, is it? I mean, the Great Lakes, they're almost like inland seas, aren't they? So yeah, I would say that they can get quite deep, depending on what the topography of the land was prior to it being filled with water. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, this apparently was the FJ King, and it was 144-foot long, three-masted cargo schooner. So that's a pretty good sized ship down there. Was built in 1867 in Toledo, Ohio, and they used it to transport grain and iron ore.
right. Do you know what I was gonna say at first? Was it like a booze runner? You know, for like from like the Prohibition era.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
nope, this one was, well, it was grain, so don't know
just
what they were doing with the grain.
giving you a bit of an idea here. It's the second largest of the Great Lakes, Lake Michigan, after Lake Superior, and the third largest by surface area after Lake Superior and Lake Huron. So the depth here on Wikipedia, the depth is that the depth of Lake Michigan or the depth? Let's go for this one here. 923 feet deep, so 281 meters on the
Wow.
metric system. That's deep.
I
So
have no
you're
idea.
easily getting any kind of vessel is going down to the bottom and not being seen. That
Yeah, I would
923
say
feet
so.
is really deep.
That blows away any concept that I would have had of how deep it is.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting as well, its maximum length is 307 miles, and its maximum width is 118 miles. So it's flaming big.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would absolutely say so. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea. I just
So
have no concept of size.
yeah, I mean, it's fascinating because you just, like you say, when you say a lake, something that big doesn't necessarily go into your mind, but it is more like an
Yeah.
inland sea than a lake. I mean, you
Yeah, yeah.
when you do look at it on a sort of map of the US and Canada, those Great Lakes, they really are massive.
Yeah.
They are very well named as Great Lakes because they are colossal. They are
Yeah, I would
colossal.
say so.
Yeah.
This says, according to the Historical Society and Archaeological Association's announcement, the ship ran into a gale off the Door Peninsula on September 15th, 1886, while moving iron ore from Escanaba, Michigan to Chicago.
Right.
So, looked like some windstorm got it.
Yeah.
And iron ore. If it was full of iron ore, wouldn't that have taken it down even
Probably.
faster? I would
Quite
say,
a heavy
yeah,
quite heavy
yeah.
cargo. Yeah. I mean, it's not something you're gonna. If your
Didn't have a
ship's running into
chance.
trouble and you need to lighten the load, it's not the easiest of things to get rid of either. But yeah, that's. I mean, did you say it was a sailing ship? So as
Yeah,
well.
three mast sailing ship.
Yeah, that's gonna make it even worse, isn't it? It's likelihood that it started to list in the water, and if the
Yeah,
cargo shifted and everything like that that was on board, yeah, that would be quite scary.
so searchers have been trying to find the FJ King since the 1970s, but conflicting accounts of the ship's location when it sank stymied their efforts.
Yeah,
So it does say that over the years it has gained a reputation as a ghost ship.
right.
So I wonder Wonder if there we'll have to report back in after I've had a chance to do a little bit of research on this and see if we can get some stories of people over the years that maybe have supposedly seen it.
Hmm.
Look for that coming up in the podcast, and I'll report back in on that. Very
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, that is fascinating. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
When they find these wrecks, and then they can forensically look at the damage to the ship and what have you, and they can start to piece together what happened. That's the thing I always find really fascinating is when they just see the damage even after so many years. So then they start to build the story of what happened based on, like you say, the weather, what type of ship it was, what its vulnerabilities would be, what damage was done. And imagine, like, all of the iron and stuff like that, it's probably rusted, but a lot of it will probably still be down there. They might get an idea if it was overloaded as well. That's something that when you see these shows,
Right.
they often can give you an idea this thing was carrying more than even what the manifest might say. All that kind of stuff all starts to play in, and they build
Yeah,
a
sure.
picture
Yeah.
of what happened. But yeah, that would be really interesting to find out what the upshot of that would be.
Doesn't not seeing it here doesn't speak of anyone who lost their life in this incident. So I'm going to assume that the anyone who was on the ship made it safely away, and it was just the ship that was lost. I don't see anything on here that says that there was loss of life.
Right. Well, that'd be something anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't make any mention that there was any casualties. So it looks like they just they lost a really heavy ship full of ore to a windstorm.
Yeah.
And that's me. What do you got?
Spooky story wise.
Anything you got? Is that it? Are we done?
Yeah.
I think that gives our audience a little bit of an idea who we are, what they're going to hear,
Yeah.
and I have to say that this is a growing process for us.
Yeah.
So it's really important to us if there's something that you want to hear on our show, it's important that you guys let us know because we're kind of winging it. This is a learning process for us, and we want to bring you the content that you want to hear.
Yes.
So if there's something that we're missing, if there's something and it would be wonderful if there's something that we're doing right and you really like it, let us know so we can bring you more content like that. But basically, what the gist is we are going to be discussing the paranormal. It's going to be ghostly. It might be scary. It might be funny. It might be informational. But it's going to be hopefully some spooky goodness that you'll want to come back and listen to each week.
Absolutely. So, to close off the show, I thought I would share a spooky story that I wrote. Very brief. It's only a brief story, a few minutes. But yeah, I think it's sort of cool if we sign off the show each week, or each time we do the show, rather, with a one. So I have done that, and here we are. Here it goes. Reflection by Aidy. A couple of years back, I had new windows installed in the back bedroom of my house. They were the kind that opened out wide enough so you can climb through them and onto the flat roof that was beneath the back bedroom. They served as an emergency escape route should there be a fire and other escape routes in the house were blocked. It was a hot night and I was sweating. I decided to take a shower to freshen up. Both windows in the back bedroom were wide open to allow air to circulate to try and cool the room down. I flipped on the radio in the bedroom and stepped into the cool shower. I could barely hear the songs on the radio over the loud pattering of water falling in the shower. I finished up and walked into the back bedroom and put on some shorts and a t-shirt. The radio music had stopped and there was the tail end of a news flash. Warned not to approach the subject, as he is. I flipped the radio off without a thought. I finished getting dressed. Then I heard this sound downstairs. It was a clattering of dishes. I dashed downstairs and nothing was wrong. A couple of plates had slid into the sink. The culprit was frozen in place. Next door's cat. The little SOB must have snuck in the open window and had gone down looking for food. I picked the cat up and took it back upstairs and let it out back through the open window onto the flat roof. It meowed and trotted off, jumping onto the low carriage roof, then onto the ground. I went back into the bathroom to tidy away the shower gel and shampoo. Thinking on, I decided to head back into the back bedroom to shut both windows. It had gotten quite cool suddenly, with a strong breeze ruffling the curtains and causing the ceiling lampshade to rock back and forward, causing the light to cast strange shadows. I shut one window and crossed to the next one to it. As I did, I glanced at the middle part of the window, stopping dead in my tracks. I was rooted to the spot, fear and confusion toying with my mind. My reflection was there just fine. Well, my body was, but the face. The face was not my own. It was that of another man. His contorted sneer and blazing evil eyes glared back at me. I was frozen to the spot, confused. What was this? I reached up to my face with a shaking hand and touched it. The mirror image did the same. I was freshly shaven around the face and my skin was smooth to the touch, but the face in the reflection was bristling with stubble. It was then my logical part of my brain kicked in, that there was somebody outside looking in on the roof. Quickly I reached over to the other open window, my hand fumbling for the latch. Not daring to look outside, I reached out, grabbed the window latch, and pulled it shut. As I did, I felt a blast of cold air sweep into the room. I slammed the window shut and locked down the latch and backed away from the window, and with fear and trepidation looked out. Nothing. Just my own face. I scanned around the flat roof, lit up by the bedroom light. Nothing. No one was there. With a sigh of relief, I sat down on the bed and gathered my thoughts. And maybe my mind was playing tricks on me. Was it a trick of the light? The lampshade swinging, perhaps? But no, that face, it was pure evil. I looked out of the window again. Nothing. My reflection, normal. I shook my head. Silly fool, I said to myself, and went into the bathroom. I put the damp towel on the radiator to dry off, and as I turned to walk out of the bathroom, I caught a quick glimpse of myself in the bathroom mirror. I froze, terror filling my veins with ice. There in the mirror was that same evil face that had been in the window. Its cold, evil eyes and ghastly sneer burned right through me. I snapped my head around. There was no one else in the room. I looked back and it was still there, sneering, evil. I backed out of the bathroom and stumbled into the bedroom. Again, it was in the window. I fled from there and down the stairs. In the hallway, at the foot of the stairs, was a large mirror. As I passed it, I fearfully glanced over towards it. There was the face, glaring out at me. I ran into the lounge, and in the reflection of the TV was the face. I felt the walls of my reality crumbling. In every reflective surface was the face. I shut my eyes, breathing deeply. I opened them again and raced for the front door. In the periphery of my vision, I could see the face leering in the glass windows of the door. Stumbling out into the road, I felt that every window in the world now had this face. I stumbled against a neighbour's car, and without thinking, I glanced at the windscreen. The reflection was my own. No face aside from mine. I stood in the street, confused and scared. About me, neighbours were starting to come out of their houses. Evidently, I'd been shouting obscenities in my flight out of the house. I reassured them that I was okay. I noticed a strange black car pull quietly away from the end of the street. As I looked on, the driver slowly turned his head towards me. The vision stopped me dead. There, looking right into my soul, were those evil eyes and that wicked sneer. For a moment, every window in every building in the street had that same face. Every car window was infected by this silent, mocking vision. Then, as the car silently drove away, they vanished. No one else saw this, just me. In the days, months, and years since that night, I have never seen it since. But even now, I cannot look directly out of a window at night or straight into a mirror without a quick glance first to make sure that face is not there, glaring back at me